But after two-tier Keir piously announced that lawmakers cannot be law breakers, shouldn't the world's worst chancellor walk the plank? 03444991000, all that and so much more. So don't go anywhere. Stick with me right here, right now on Talk, home of free speech and common sense. Let's spend Thursday morning together. We've got a packed show for you today. Of course, once again, as you all know, Mike Graham is on leave, and you know why. There's an investigation going on into his Facebook page. As I say every day, he has to wait for the result of that investigation. So do I, and so do you. So does everybody. So until such time as we come to the end of that probe, let's just carry on with the show as we have to do. So bear with us. And who better to help me through the first hour to review the papers? Haven't seen her for ages. Good to see her again. It is writer and broadcaster Emma Trimble, or Emma Webb, as I always knew you. You got married
It's been such a long time.
Since you got married since last time. She's got a different name. Good to see you, Emma.
Likewise, it's really good to be back.
We'll get to Rachel Reeves, who is all over the front page of the Daily Mail in just a little while. But I do feel that what the nation are traumatised by is this increasing number of serious offences by asylum seekers, by migrants. You know, this isn't racism, folks. This is a fact. So we have, for the last 15, 16 years, successive terrible Tory governments, and now this current Labour government, have let in thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of undocumented foreigners, people who break into our country illegally, come across the channel in small boats or on the back of lorries. Then when we catch them, or when they we go, we don't know anything about you, but please, here's a 4-star hotel, here's 50 quid a week, here's a free lawyer to fight your case to stay. Oh, by the way, you can have free doctors, free dentists as well. And we'll also give you driving lessons and free video consoles, game consoles. How about trampoline lessons, trips to the zoo? We do all that. So they keep on coming. Now we're beginning to find out a sinister element to this, a sinister aspect to what these governments have done. As I said in my monologue, hand on heart, we have to ask these various governments, including this one, what on earth have you done to this country? We're going to play you later a lady who phoned Julia Hartley-Brewer here on Talk yesterday in floods of tears because she doesn't recognise her own neighbourhood anymore. She's scared to go out. I've been covering a story of a primary school in to the west of London, very near where this awful murder of this poor guy walking his dog unfolded on Monday night. This is called Cherry Lane Primary School. Every day it is besieged by hundreds of migrants, hundreds of asylum seekers who come from the nearby asylum seeker hotels and just hang around outside the school because there's a lot of grass and benches. They smoke sheesh pipes and leer at the kids. And this is the scene, we're watching the video now. It's extraordinary. You're going to see in just a second. I don't know if you can see it, Emma. Look at that. Hundreds of them escorted by the police. They're making their way to this school. Then they sit around outside the school. Some of them smoking sheesh pipes and others leering through holes in the wall at the kids in the playground. The parents have staged demonstrations. But these are they are smoking the sheesh pipe. Is that right? Is that right? That's right outside a kid's playground. I mean, come on. 640 kids, 3 to 11 years old in this. Now, as I said in my monologue, also, we know in the summer, both the Sun and the Mail revealed that there were hundreds of asylum seekers who are in these 400 or so asylum seeker hotels around the country who have either been convicted of or charged with serious crimes. We're awaiting the results of these various criminal investigations, and they're beginning to come through. We've just found out that the terrible murder on Monday of a guy called Wayne Broadhurst, 49-year-old council worker, just walking his little dog, 5 p.m. Monday afternoon, down a residential side street in Uxbridge to the west of London. We've just found out that Afghani national Safi Dawood has been charged with murder and attempted murder following that triple stabbing in Uxbridge, because also a 45-year-old guy was critically wounded, injured. He's fighting for his life, facing life-changing injuries, and also a 14-year-old boy was injured as well, but he will recover. So we've just found out, this is now a live case, so we have to be slightly careful there. Afghani national Safi Dawood has been charged with murder and attempted murder following the live stabbing. Meanwhile, we find out that a Somalian national walked into a bank in Derby and stabbed a random victim to death because he was angry because his asylum application had been refused. I mean, you know, that's a rare thing, isn't it, for a kick-off? No wonder he was angry, because most of them don't get refused. He had previously, in response to this rejection, threatened to kill 500 people, but he settled on just one. A poor guy, father of three, who just happened to be in the branch of Lloyd's at the wrong time. Also, this guy, his name is Habe Noor, shouted "F the English" and "white racist bastards," and then tried to run straight into our oncoming traffic. Also, a cross-channel migrant last week, Deng Chol Majek, was found guilty of the brutal murder of a poor little girl who worked at his asylum seeker hotel, stabbed her 23 times with a screwdriver and then danced around whooping with excitement. Another migrant, Shafiola Rasuli, is awaiting sentence after sexually assaulting 2 women as he delivered takeaway food to their homes in Maidstone in Kent. And on it goes. The people of this country are now feeling incredibly unsafe, and the finger of blame points at successive governments, including this one, who've opened our borders to thousands and thousands of mainly young men about whom we know nothing. This is shocking, isn't it?
I mean, I'm angry. Just listening to you saying, you know, mentioning all of these cases, I can feel my sort of blood pressure rising. How many people need to be raped and murdered before we stop letting these people in the first place? These are all crimes that would not have happened if we had control over our borders. People have, for decades and decades, since even before I was born, expressed their desire to have lower migration. Since we've had this migrant crisis and all these people coming illegally across the channel, people have time and time again at the ballot box, in surveys, in polling, made it very clear that they want this to stop. Successive governments have refused to do anything about it. It's an act of national suicide. People are literally dying. As you mentioned, the lady who did the interview with Julia Hartley-Brewer, who was literally sobbing, saying she knows people who have died. She's afraid to go out on her own without, I think she said, without being accompanied by a man. This is Great Britain, for crying out loud, you know. We should not have to live like this. We do not have to live like this. We have been completely betrayed by the political class.
Sure.
And people are justifiably angry. They're angry, they're worried about their children, they're worried about their, like you showed the video of them smoking their shisha pipes near a school, leering through school gates and things like that. People are absolutely right to protest this, and yet when they do, they get demonised. And it leaves people feeling completely powerless because they're not listened to at the ballot box. They're not, when they protest, they get demonised and called far right. It's as if we're supposed to just lay down like little dogs and roll on our backs and take it.
We're exactly right, and we're not going to take it. And I think we're reaching a kind of crisis point with this. The nation have had enough of this. They're furious. They're afraid, and they're furious. I put out a tweet last night, and I think it's very, very relevant. It's fair to say I'll say one thing for the authorities. They've learned their lesson about trying to keep the ethnicity and the asylum seeker status of potential criminals secret, like they did in Southport a year ago, like they have done successively. They've now got a policy that if an alleged perpetrator of an horrific crime, someone arrested, is an asylum seeker or a migrant, they do, to be fair, now make a point of announcing it, as they did with this terrible murder of poor Wayne Broadhurst. I can't get over it. I've seen I don't know if you've seen the video.
I have, yeah.
And they, you know, I know this sounds trite, and of course the most horrific thing about it is, you know, this guy just time and time again going like this, stabbing this poor guy to death. He's just a guy walking, and
Keir Starmer has absolutely nothing to say.
Exactly right. And then his little dog, though, dancing around, thinking it's
not
a
knowing
game.
what to do.
Yeah, the whole scene is. So I think the whole thing, particularly as a lot of people have seen that video, has traumatised the nation, and that's exactly what I was going to say, Emma. Where is our Prime Minister? Where is our leader? Why hasn't he said anything? I put a tweet out last night about the strange silence of Keir Starmer, and it just flew. It's had about 5,000 retweets. It's been seen about 400,000 times. It really struck a chord. Where are you, Starmer? Are you going to say something about this? It's disgusting, I think. You know, he's supposed to be our leader. Show some damn leadership.
It's almost as if it's just accepted. This is what happens now. This is the price you pay for having open borders. These sorts of things, I mean, lots of people comment about this online. Every single day it seems to be a new thing. I mean, the cases that you mentioned were just in the last week alone, whether it was them being charged or whether, you know, the actual crime being committed. Every single day there is more news like this, and perhaps the Prime Minister just thinks, okay, well, maybe the British people have just accepted that's just how we live now, but people haven't. They expect his disgust, they expect his horror, because I think people are so charitable that they still expect from Keir Starmer for him to behave like a normal British person and actually have some feeling for his fellow countrymen, when it seems that he doesn't even think that this is something important to comment on publicly. I was watching his Twitter as soon as this news broke.
Yeah.
I kept
went
checking
through it last
constantly.
night.
Nothing.
Me too,
tweeting about other stuff.
It's exactly what I did yesterday, last night. So well, there must be something, because he loves to make it. He makes these daily tweets. He's always doing tweets about, you know, Britain is safer and better under Labour. You know, the economy is going great guns, and various other lies. We are sealing our borders, and various other barefaced lies. That's what Keir Starmer does for a living. He lies to the nation. Take the Chinese spy case. Man, is he lying about that. He lied to the Commons about that. It's unbelievable. So he's just a liar. But I thought he would say something about this. We have to be careful now, because this man has been charged with that murder. But the sheer event of it, I think, required a response from the Prime Minister. And why hasn't he said anything? I think it's because subsequent to the sheer horror of the actual murder, the authorities announced that guess who had been arrested on suspicion of the murder? It was an Afghani migrant who came here 5 years ago on the back of a lorry illegally, and was subsequently granted leave to stay. His asylum application was granted. I think that the reason Keir Starmer is maintaining this strange silence is he doesn't like that circumstance, because it will make people say, what is this damn government doing about our migrant crisis? What is it doing about all these people who keep breaking into the country illegally? Why does it keep letting them stay? That's why he doesn't want to get involved in this, because it causes great embarrassment for this government, and to be fair, previous Tory governments too.
And remember how when he went up to Southport after that attack, how much he badly mucked that up, and he was even being heckled by local people because he just did not manage the situation properly. And we've just had also one of the other cases in the last week of this guy who was released from the prison in Chelmsford, who managed to make it all the way to Finsbury Park. 48 hours later, police didn't catch him. In fact, he tried to hand himself over to police, apparently.
We're going to be covering that in just a little while.
But I mean, this just goes to show that Keir Starmer is not taking people's concerns about security seriously. Even talk of housing these migrants not in hotels but on military bases, which is an obvious security risk. I spoke to somebody who has worked, has first-hand experience of this, work with the military, who said that on a weekly basis they had sexual assaults, they had security breaches because these people are wandering around unescorted on the inside of the wires of these military bases that are supposed to be secure. This is a ridiculous situation. Keir Starmer,
except for don't forget, they're not locked up. They're allowed to. They're not under arrest. They're not detained. They're just put in there to live, just like they're putting hotels. None of these asylum seekers are banned from doing anything. They're completely free.
The bigger picture is that, Keir Starmer, whether it is on the Chagos Islands, whether it is on where migrants are being housed, whether it's on securing our borders, this is a man who does not take Britain's security seriously. And people are actually terrified. They're terrified to go out in their local area.
Exactly right, as that poor lady revealed when she called Julia Hartley-Brewer yesterday on Talk on her mid-morning show in a state of serious distress. We'll play you that later. When we come back, we will go. I just thought we ought to talk about all that. All that stuff is in the papers, of course, but we'll get to a real paper review when we come back, and we'll kick off with old Rachel Reeves. Reeves illegally rented out her own family home. Keir Starmer: lawmakers cannot be lawbreakers. Well, what about your Chancellor, Keir? We'll talk about that next. Welcome back. This is page one in the Daily Mail, that Reeves illegally rented out her own family home. So, being the Chancellor, Emma, she gets this sort of added perk. So her and her family move into number 11 Downing Street. Very good address, very good area. Not keen on the neighbour, though. Don't like him at all. But anyway, she's able to rent out her family home, the one she owns, down in Dulwich, very nice area in South London. £3,000 a month. She makes apparently more than £70,000 a year on it. Now, in the borough of Dulwich, you have to get a landlord's licence, which involves, proving that the place is safe and fireproof and all that kind of stuff. Cost £900, funnily enough. She didn't do that, and the Daily Mail found her out. And so now she's full of writing letters to Starmer. I'm so oversight, so sorry. Oh, you've done the right thing. You're such an honest and honourable person, and I accept your apology. And I think that is enough to draw a line under the matter, which is what will happen. Nothing will happen because of this. But don't forget, Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister who piously announced upon becoming our supreme leader that his government will be a paragon of honesty and decency, and that lawmakers could not be lawbreakers. She's broken the law. What's he going to do about it? I'll tell you, sadly he's going to do nothing. But, again, another calamity for this calamitous government.
Yeah, it is nice to see them falling prey to the sorts of red tape that they are only really making worse and worse. But you're going to think I've gone really soft on this.
You better not.
To be fair, I think
that
talk. She's done this through a letting agent, and you would think it should be the letting agent's responsibility to sort that kind of thing out.
Yeah, she says that the letting agent
did. It's not like she was found out. She realised she'd made a mistake, and then she went and she reported it to the appropriate authorities and everything. So in a sense, she's done the right thing. It's not the sort of mistake that somebody of the Chancellor's status should be making, because there should be extra diligence. There should even, this is quite a common thing for people in this position to do. There should be even some guidance.
Starmer's doing it.
I mean, there should be sort of guidance even made available to them so that they do their diligence properly and don't make this kind of mistake.
You're right. Yeah.
I mean, it actually, I think, if anything, it's not this is not really so much a, oh, Rachel Reeves has done this illegally, how bad is she? This is more of a, look how incompetent this government is that they can't even get this kind of thing right. But like I say, I mean, it is kind of the letting agent's responsibility.
Yeah, look, this is you're right. In fair, I hate to admit this, but you're right.
I've made you go soft now.
No, this is the kind of oversight that people do make, but she's the Chancellor of the damn Exchequer. And she should have been a lot more careful about this. But here she is in 2021 singing a different song.
A whole growing feeling that there's one rule for those at the top and another for everybody else that we need to root out of our politics.
Blimey, she's aged, hasn't she? 2020. That's what happens if you're a Chancellor of the Exchequer. It ages you. If you're a really, really terrible Chancellor of the Exchequer, it ages you really, really terribly, and it has clearly. Here is Kemi Badenoch grilling Starmer on the question of taxes in July and yesterday.
Mr. Speaker, in their manifesto last year, Labour promised not to increase income tax, not to increase national insurance, and not to increase VAT. Does the Prime Minister still stand by his promises?
Yes.
Last year, in its manifesto, Labour promised not to increase income tax, not to increase national insurance, and not to increase VAT. Does the Prime Minister still stand by his promises?
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm glad that the Leader of the Opposition is now finally talking about the economy. I can update the House, Mr. Speaker. Retail sales are higher than expected. Inflation is lower than expected. Growth has been upgraded this year. And, Mr. Speaker, the UK stock market is at an all-time high. The budget is on the 26th of November and we will lay out our plans. But I can tell the House now that we will build a stronger economy, we will cut NHS waiting lists and deliver a better future for our country.
And here are the plans for that November budget from hell next month. They're on the front page of the Telegraph, page 1. Reeves eyes 2p income tax rise. So she's going to break her promise on so many levels. She promised, read my lips, no more tax rises. This was the last budget from hell last October. She said this will be the last time I'll tax you. I'll have to raise taxes. I promise. So she's now not going to. That's a big tax rise, 2p. He's actually boasting about the upcoming budget in November. The upcoming budget in November will actually sign his death knell. I mean, it's already pretty much signed. And of course, there's no doubt whatsoever that Keir Starmer is gone after the local elections in May. You expect this nonsense from politicians, particularly a politician of Starmer's low calibre. But what on earth is he talking about there?
I mean, it's shocking. I was really hoping we were going to talk about this because they have just lied, right? They've just lied to the electorate. They made it very, very clear in their manifesto pledges they weren't going to raise national insurance, they weren't going to raise income tax. They have dug their own grave by repeatedly saying for the entire period of the government so far, repeatedly hammering in, we're not going to tax working people, we're not going to tax working people. And what are they going to do? They're going to tax working people. They did it by stealth with the national insurance rises, and now they're doing it explicitly through raising income tax. They have simply lied to the public, broken their promises. They're acting as if the manifesto doesn't bind them in any way at all. Yeah, sure, maybe they shouldn't have promised to not raising income tax because in doing so, they committed themselves to something that may have been inevitable. But it's bad politics, sure. But for Keir Starmer in PMQs, and it really was one of the worst PMQs that I mean, he literally, Kemi Badenoch could have been talking to a chatbot and she would have got more from him, because he really was just repeating the same Labour lines over and over again, terrible, not giving an answer, equivocating, insisting the economy is great when people know that it isn't. So not only is it bad politics, but also people are really genuinely struggling to afford to live. And for them to increase income tax, and also for them to talk about things like wealth tax on people who are asset rich because they own houses over a certain amount of money, I think it's 2 million or something, but are not necessarily, don't necessarily have a lot of money in their pockets. People like pensioners, for example. I know of people who are leaving the country, taking their businesses out of the country because this has become a hostile environment to them. This country is becoming hostile to people who have any kind of ambition whatsoever. It's punitive. They are driving the British people into the ground by milking us dry.
And we are in a circle of, what they call it, a doom loop, a gloom loop. Gloom loop, doom loop, and the doom loop.
Both.
It is definitely both. It's the reason she's going to have to break all our promises in her budget from hell next month and tax the backsides of us, which she promised she wouldn't do. The reason she's going to have to do this is because of her last budget, last October, which was a disaster, a £40 billion tax grab, raising national insurance for employers, making their businesses unviable. So she ruined the economy with her tax grab budget last October. Of course, why did she grab so much of our taxes? It was so she could give massive pay rises to the public sector. What we're trapped in, folks, is this: a socialist government carrying out socialist policies, which is to bleed the private sector dry, to bleed individuals dry, and to take the money that they tax the private sector with and give it to the public sector. And that is a recipe for economic disaster.
There's going to be nothing left for them to tax.
And because she did that last October and destroyed the economy, destroyed any chance of growth, we've got inflation soaring as well, house market just not happening anymore, because she killed this economy stone dead, because she killed just the spirit of this country, of business in this country, stone dead. She's got to tax the hell out of us again next month. She talked about, inherited a £22 billion black hole in our finances left by the previous Tory government. Well, here's the deal. The Financial Times looked into this and said, we can find no trace of this 22 billion.
Made up?
Well, they made it up in order to tax us so they could give the doctors and the train drivers massive great pay rise. They made it up. Now, because of her terrible economy and all the money she's given to the private sector, she has created, never mind the pretend £22 billion black hole, she, Chancellor Reeves, Rachel from Accounts, has created a genuine £50 billion black hole, which she now has to fill by taxing us. Therein lies our ongoing doom loop.
Yeah, Rachel Reeves. No wonder she keeps crying.
Yeah.
She
didn't only cry in the comments. She said she was crying at the Labour conference as well. She's always
it's
crying.
pathetic. If you can't hold your emotions together in public like that, I don't think you should be in any senior position in government, never mind Chancellor of the Exchequer. But anyway, you mentioned the 41 billion tax grab that in the last budget. That public spending increase was 71 billion. It is just incredible. It's punishing the people who create the wealth in order to funnel the money to the people who are basically Labour's base, the public sector workers. It's a completely unsustainable situation. I'm not an economist, and I know that this is bad economics. She really, she's sort of hoisting herself by her own petard.
Yeah, and people do not. When do you remember in America? Do you remember? George Bush, W. Bush, he's told the electorate to read my lips there will be no more tax rises. Then there were tax rises and it lost in the election.
It's going to be Labour's poll tax.
If governments make promises about not raising taxes and then renege on those promises, it is suicidal for them. The effects are catastrophic for them. And this government is an ongoing catastrophe. Well, listen, when we come back, we're going to talk about this. Our friend Hadush Kabatu, the prisoner who was accidentally released from Chelmsford jail last Friday, and is now back, having been deported in his native Ethiopia. In order to leave Britain, we bribed him with 500 quid. Why did we give him 500 quid? Because he said that if we didn't give him some money, he wouldn't go quietly. He's also made given an incredible interview about how he kept trying to get back into prison after they accidentally released him. We'll play you that next, and we'll talk about this But why don't you give him 500 quid? Just tell him to bugger off. It's unbelievable. We'll talk about that next. Stay tuned. Welcome back. As I said before the break, we're going to talk about this. Page one of the Express. Sex attacker migrant was given £500 to leave. This is our friend Hadush Kabatu, the asylum seeker sex assaulter who was resident in the Bell Hotel, the notorious Bell Hotel in Epping. His attacks on a 14-year-old girl and a woman who tried to protect her. A woman stepped in to say, leave her alone, and then he rounded on her. So he ended up there, and the people of Epping and others protested. They were all called racists, and then it turned out to be true. But they did have a sex attacker in their midst, an asylum seeker imposed upon them by this mad migrant crisis, which we're trapped in as a nation. Anyway, so he gets sent to jail. We know the story. Accidentally last Friday, he's let out of Chelmsford. Time and time again, tried to get back in. We'll play you a little video of him talking about that in a second. But Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, Emma, earlier this week was boasting about, I pulled all the levers and I got him out of the country as soon as I could, and God, I'm good. Anyway, it turns out we've got a returns deal with Ethiopia. It's not difficult to get people. Now, if he came from a country with which we did not have a returns deal, he'd still be here. But in order to, what she said, we got tough with this guy. A lot of people saying, well, if you can get him out of the country so easily, what about the other thousands? There's more than 10,000 foreigners, many of them asylum seekers and migrants, in our jails who've broken our laws. Why can't you deport all of them if you got this guy out so efficiently? What about the rest of them? So that said, in order to this tough, hard as nails Home Secretary, in order to persuade this sex offender to get on a plane and go back to Ethiopia, his home country of Ethiopia, where, by the way, he will just walk free. He's as happy as Larry, he really is. I feel sorry for his victims. That's his punishment. Don't worry, we've really punished the person that sexually assaulted you. We put him on a plane back to Africa and he's going to go free.
Bunged him a few quid.
But in order to get him on the plane, he said, if you don't give me some money, I'm going to kick up merry hell. I'm going to make a real racket. So they gave him 500 quid. What on earth is going on?
He held them hostage in a sense, didn't he? Sort of extorting a bribe from them in order to get him to leave. Well, one of the things that I haven't seen anybody really talking about is the fact that one of the first outrages was that this guy was only given a 12-month sentence in the first place. I mean, someone like Lucy Connolly gets 2.5 years for a tweet.
Yeah, well, by the way, on that, he gets a year. Two of the people protesting about his sex crimes and the presence of an asylum seeker hotel in the small, nice town of Epping, the protesters, the demonstrations, two of those protesters who were deemed to have gone over the top and been a bit violent, they got 2 years. And they got 2 years. They got twice as long as the man who committed the assault.
And he sexually assaulted a minor as well. This is
it's a 14-year-old girl, yeah.
And so,
so he's a paedophile.
But the thing thing that I haven't seen anybody really talking about is that he was released after just 1 month of his sentence to be deported.
Yeah.
Well, obviously not to be deported, to just be let free. I just think that that's absolutely outrageous. I mean, he never mind him going back to his country and being free there. I mean, he should have served his entire sentence, surely, to be properly punished.
I was talking about this yesterday with Theo Usherwood, and we both agreed, you know, that this is... People go, just get him out of the country. Get him out. Yeah, thank God he's gone. Well, yes, I get that. And, you know, I suppose... it's one way of dealing with this, but what I worry about is his victims. The idea of, look, he sexually assaulted a minor, 14-year-old girl, and then when a nice lady stepped in to try and save her, he sexually assaulted her as well. And as you say, he has done 1 month behind bars. He is now a free man in Ethiopia. He deserves to be punished for this. But our haste to get these people on planes and out of the country gets them off the hook. It's the first thing they say in the dock. I want to go home. I want to go home. And the reason they want to go home is that means they don't serve a prison sentence. I get this, but it's not really acceptable.
Yeah, and what kind of deterrent is it as well? If you have people, we have, like I've said, we have no idea who these people are who are coming across the channel. Many of them throw away their documentation, their passports, whatever. You often hear people on the left saying things like, oh, well, you know, they've come from countries where they don't know right from wrong. That's ridiculous. Many of these people are coming from countries where they might be executed for doing a crime like this. They certainly wouldn't get off so easily and just be deported back to their country. I mean, and also you mentioned Shabana Mahmood, the guy who was deported on this silly scam of a one-in, one-out scheme, who managed to get back into the country, is still here.
Yeah, he's still here. We're going to cover that story later. I mean, it's just ridiculous. The one-in, one-out scheme. I mean, just get rid. Do you know they spent £100 million on it so far?
But the point is that
we got 46 migrants out.
If you deport people rather than having them serve their sentences and they just come back in anyway, they just make the journey again and come back here. It's like we're bailing out a boat that's full of holes with a bucket that's full of holes. This is a ridiculous way to approach it. In the meantime, men, women and children in this country are just not safe. Exactly
right. Now, Hadush Kabatu, he gave an interview to Sky News about this extraordinary saga. So they released him accidentally, by mistake, from Chelmsford Prison on Friday. He was bemused and confused, and he kept going back to the gatehouse, to the prison. He said, are you sure about this? You know, I don't quite know what to do. He kept going, are you sure? And he went back 5 times, and in the end one of the guards says, oh, for God's sake, the station is down the road on the left, will you just go? So he just wandered off and got on a train to London. Here he is talking about it to Sky News.
On the morning, Saturday, I get a police. Look here. Please, I am wanted man. I arrested. I will give you my hand. Please help him. Where is police station? He ignored me. He drive. I am not unknown. The police station, where is the place? I am not Google it, but also I get the police. I will give you my hand. Please help me. Where is the police station? Take me. I am wanted. You know me, my image. My name is Hadush Kabatu. I am national of Ethiopia. Please, I want the mistake release from Chelmsford Prison. Please help me. Who can responsible for me? Where is Home Office? Where is the immigrant? I will tell them, but also all of the experts they are ignored me.
So there you have it. After desperately trying to persuade Chelmsford Prison to readmit him so he could carry on with his sentence for sexual assault, he finally gets on a train, comes to London, then goes to a police station and says, you know, I'm Hadush Kabatu, and, you know, I'm the guy that...
Please arrest me.
I'm the Britain's most famous asylum seeker sex offender. I'm handing myself in. And they said, oh, no, off you go, off you go. This country, I mean, can we do anything right?
It almost makes you wonder, even when you think about the fact that he was accidentally released. It's hard to believe that it's not done on purpose, because it is so farcical and it is so incompetent. The fact that this guy, who's face is plastered all over the media for 48 hours, can go to a police officer and say, I'm a wanted man, please arrest me. And then the police officer just turns him away. And the fact that the police have now claimed, oh, you know, we've managed to catch this guy, but it was actually he was spotted by a member of the public.
Well, now we know that not only was the police were boasting about their diligent search for this guy, now we know that it wasn't very diligent, to the extent that when he tried to hand himself into a police station, they shooed him away. Listen, we better go to break. When we come back, we'll play you talk about safety on the streets. Kirsty Gallagher, page 9 of the Mail, famous TV presenter, of course. She's been attacked on the streets, and we will play you a caller to Julia Hartley-Brewer's show yesterday, Sarah, in a distraught state about all this. So that next, stay tuned. Welcome back. This is Morning Glory. I'm Kevin O'Sullivan, in for Mike Graham. I'm with Emma Trimble, writer and broadcaster. Used to be Emma Webb. So I don't see her for about 2 years. She turns up, she's got a different name. God, talk about confusing. Anyway, we're doing the paper review. This is the page 9 of the Daily Mail. Terror of TV's Kirsty as masked slug kicked her like a football as she walked to her car after work. So in London, Kirsty Gallagher, famous TV presenter, on her way back to her car after doing her job. Guy apparently brushed it past her, all dressed in black with a hoodie, and then he turned around and just kicked her all over the place. So another tale of terror on our streets, which was pretty much summed up by phone caller Sarah to Julia Hartley-Brewer's show yesterday, pleading with the Prime Minister to restore safety to our streets. This is pretty harrowing. Listen to this.
I live in the borough right next to Hillingdon.
Yep.
And I moved into my house in 2019. My local shop, there's been 3 stabbings, 1 murder since then.
Wow.
My friend was murdered last year up on the high street. Girl I know was murdered in Southall Park. The government are failing us. I'm so scared for my children. I have a 22-year-old son, and I'm begging him to move out of the country.
Oh my goodness, I feel for you.
What are these politicians doing to us? They're putting our children in so much danger. They're putting everyone in danger, and they're not doing nothing to help us. British people never vote against their government.
Yeah.
They're going to push us to it because they're not listening to us. Our friends, our family are dying. I had a cousin murdered 20 years ago who was stabbed to death, and nothing's changed, Julia. Keir Starmer, if you're listening to this, please do something. I'm petrified. I've never broken the law in my life. I've been a law-abiding citizen. I've been a civil servant. Please do something. It's us that are dying on the streets. You talk about being racist. We're not racist. My sister's mixed race. Yeah. I was a white child brought up in a mixed race family. Yeah. Nothing to do with race.
Exactly.
To do with our safety.
Tell you what, you know, I wrote that eloquent, tried to write that eloquent monologue at the beginning of the show, summing up the sense of dread spreading through this country right now. I shouldn't have bothered. I should have just played Sarah there. Just sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know anyone who feels safe anymore.
Yeah.
I know that I certainly don't. I mean, I'm from London. I grew up in London.
Me too.
My dad grew up in London in the 50s and 60s when they had all of the sort of gang warfare and whatnot, and he even thinks that London doesn't feel safe anymore.
This country has never been less safe, and what Sarah said is true. We're begging the Prime Minister to do something about this, and he won't even talk about the murder on Monday that all the nation is pretty traumatised by.